everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Winfred Wangari, and this is another episode of self-discovery and unlocking the mysteries of your mind. I'd like to start off today's topic with a question, and that's: have you ever just been doing your own things or about your day, and then these crazy thoughts just pop into your head out of nowhere, like unconsciously, just from nowhere? Okay, I know 94% of you have said yes, and I know this because I've done my research, and scientifically it's proven that 94% of people experience these thoughts. So that is what we're talking about today. And these thoughts, they have a name, and they're called intrusive thoughts or intrusive thinking, and they can be very uncomfortable to talk about. Not many people talk about them because you'll just think something and then you're like, okay, that's weird. So it's not something that you'll share with someone. But sometimes, yeah, you do share if you're comfortable enough with someone. But also you can't do it too often so that they do not see you in a certain way, like, okay, why are you always thinking this stuff? So yeah, that's why I want to talk about it today. And please, guys, forgive me for my kahoma. I have a cold, but no, I'm not going to keep postponing doing this video. So intrusive thoughts are negative thoughts that pop into your head unconsciously from nowhere, and they can manifest themselves in a lot of ways. And the first way that they can manifest themselves is through violent thoughts. And this means maybe you could be walking down the road or just walking, and then all of a sudden you just start thinking, what if this vehicle veers off the road? What if it veers off the road and hits me, or hits us, me and the other pedestrians along the road? Or you'd be thinking, like me, for example, when I'm walking, I'd just be like, what if I go crazy and then I stand in front of this oncoming truck? What would happen then? And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So you see why you can't talk about this with everyone. So like, how will you start telling people that, okay, today I was walking and I thought that maybe I could throw myself in front of the truck. Okay, they'll start saying, oh, you're suicidal. Oh, are you okay? You need help. You see. So that's intrusive thought. They can manifest themselves violently. Also, you could be just cooking maybe in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden you're like, this knife. What if something happens and I just cut my hand off? Or what if something happens and I just stab someone with this knife? Okay, so these are like they manifest themselves violently. You just think these, I don't know, out of this world violent things, and they could be anything. I just can't mention all of them because that would be weird. I know you know some of the things that you think about that you would not tell anyone, that they just come and go. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that they can manifest themselves in relationships. Like, you could be in a very, very healthy relationship, romantically, let's say, but all of a sudden, sometimes you get these thoughts of, what if I am not enough for this person, or what if this person is not enough for me, or this person has left for work? And then you're like, what if this person dies going to work? What if he or she doesn't come back home? Okay, or what if something bad happens to him or her? You could think like, what if he's lying to me, or what if she's lying to me, or what if there's someone else out there for me? And guys, there's a difference between having these intrusive thoughts in relationships and actual red flags or actual things that your partner can do that can make you have these doubts. So intrusive thoughts are baseless. Like, these are baseless thoughts, no facts whatsoever to prove them, like nothing to back them up. It's different from when your partner has been doing some shady things and they are making you doubt the relationship, or they are making you doubt them. Okay, there's a difference. For intrusive thoughts, you are perfectly healthy, you love each other, you love this person so much, but for some reason this thought just comes from nowhere. That is the key point. They are baseless and they're unconscious. It's not that you plan to think about them, they're just unconscious. You haven't like gone through their messages and seen some creepy things or shady things, or you haven't caught them in a lie. That's different. Yeah. And the third way that they can manifest themselves is when one holds strong religious beliefs accompanied with morality and spirituality. So when you encounter these thoughts, you are filled with guilt and shame because you're wondering, why am I thinking these things? These are things that I should not think about because they're against what I stand for, they're against my religion, they're against everything that I know as a believer. Okay, so now you'll beat yourself up and you'll think about these thoughts, and you'll just see yourself in a different light. You'll just start thinking the way you're not a good person, because if you're a good person, then why are you thinking about these things? You will even start maybe dissociating with yourself with the religion, because you're like, I am not good enough because I think of these things. These things actually happen, guys. So it's just that people won't talk about it, okay? So religion can actually make it worse for some people. That's another way. And the last way is through magical thinking. So magical thinking essentially is when you think about something so much and then you start believing that it might come true. So if it's these intrusive thoughts, now you start thinking, what if they come to pass? Like, what if I actually do them? I know they're just thoughts, but what if I actually end up doing them? That's magical thinking. And then the more you think about these thoughts, the more likely you are to feel that they are going to happen. So you're like, if I keep thinking about how I'm going to throw myself in front of this shark, then maybe I might end up doing so. And then you become just anxious, and it's just something so uncomfortable to deal with. That's another way, through magical thinking. Before I move on, let me tell you a weird story. Not really weird. So the other day at work, some police officers came by the office, and it was nothing really, just business. But the minute they walked in, I was like, oh my God, what if these people just go crazy, they just go nuts, and they just start shooting all over the place? I don't know why I'm laughing, but I don't know. It just came from nowhere, guys, as I'm telling you. It came from nowhere. And then, afterwards, when they were leaving, my colleague said, for me, I thought it in my head, okay? And nikamaliza your story. But for my colleague, my colleague just blurted out, like, Kaiwini, what if these police officers start shooting? Oh my God, what would we do? And my God, the look on my face, utter disbelief, because I was like, what? I just thought the same thing. Then I proceeded to tell her how I'm actually doing something about intrusive thoughts and how I actually thought that. And then she was like, Kai, according to like what you know, so is it a bad thing? Like, why are we thinking this? And then I told her, you'll need to watch my video to find out. So anyway, as you can see, these are things that are normal. Sometimes, like, you will tell someone, sometimes you will not. Like, for her, I don't know why she told me, because for me, I didn't tell her. Maybe I just thought about it and then she said it out loud. It was so, I don't know how to explain. It was so interesting, actually. And okay, so these intrusive thoughts, sometimes they might be symptoms that you need some help, and sometimes they're just normal. And I categorize them into 3. The first thing is that they are absolutely normal, and this is proven scientifically, as I mentioned at the intro of this video. So actually, the brain has different networks, okay? And there's this part of the brain that's called the DMN, and that stands for default mode network, yeah. So with this default mode network, the brain usually is not engaging in something so cognitive or such a heavy task. You're mostly just thinking about maybe your experiences, your memories, nothing much during that time. So that is when the DMN is active. And so when the DMN is active, that is when these thoughts can come into mind. Like, for instance, myself, like when I'm going home, I'm not thinking of anything. Like, I'm not doing anything much. I'm just walking, right? So when I'm walking, that doesn't require a lot of brain activity. My brain is in DMN network. So that means that I have a lot of time to think about my memories, how the day was, you know. I have time to think about a lot of things. So that's when these intrusive thoughts pop up. Also, sometimes, even when you're in the office and maybe it's something that doesn't require a lot, like making a call doesn't require a lot. Like when you're dialing someone's phone and it's ringing, you're waiting for them to pick up. You're not using a lot of effort, right? So these thoughts can pop up. So mostly it happens during that stage of brain activity, the DMN stage. Then the second category is that these intrusive thoughts could be a sign of anxiety or a mental disorder like OCD. So if you have these intrusive thoughts and you're constantly thinking about them, like never shutting them down, like if you think about something like maybe that throwing yourself in front of a truck, you just think about it the whole time. You won't just be like, what if I throw myself in front of the truck? And then you stop and continue walking or continue thinking other things. You'll be like that, and then the whole way you're just thinking about that thing. And then the more you think about it, the worse it becomes, okay? So that could be OCD. Because with OCD, you obsessively do something over and over and over again until it interferes with your health, mentally or even physically. Because you see, if you're constantly thinking about these things, you might not be able to accomplish tasks that you're intending to do. If it's at work, then these thoughts come in your mind and you're constantly thinking about them, then how will you concentrate on other things? So you see, it can be detrimental. And if it's at home, or maybe if it's like the relationship, and you're constantly thinking about this thing, all these negative thoughts, then what happens then? You're going to be distant with your partner because it's all you can think about, and you might start believing that this is true. So that is something else. With OCD, then now you need to see. You need to seek professional help. So number 3 is that they can be a sign of mental instability. So if you have these intrusive thoughts and they are accompanied by the urge to act on them, by the desire to act on them, then that's a completely different thing, and you need to seek professional help. Because how it works is that if you're feeling that urge to hurt someone, then you might end up doing it because you feel that urge, okay? And with the other categories, there is no urge. It's just thoughts and you just forget about it. Or if it's a second category, you just obsess over it, but you have no urge to do it. But with this one, there is that strong pull towards doing it. Like if it's throwing yourself in front of the truck, you like want to do it. Like you feel like your body is leading you to doing it. That's different. And if you're in a relationship and you think about hurting your partner, then you end up doing it. So if you're like, she makes me so mad or he makes me so mad, I might just pour this hot water onto them. There is a situation where it could be the second or first category where you think it and not feel the urge to do it, you're just thinking it. But with this third category, you might find yourself just doing it. You might just find yourself doing something terrible to your partner, then afterwards regret it. So there's a difference. With the third category, there's an urge, and it's also how I think murderers and serial killers function, because they'll think about doing something terrible to you or to people, then they end up doing it because they have that urge. For them, it's not just thoughts. For them, they need to actually execute it to feel, I think, satisfied or free or relaxed. They need to actually do the thing that they have thought. So that's different. And with that, then that means you need to seek professional help, like therapy. And there's tons of help these days. So with all that said, you could check where in the category you lie. And if it's the first category, they just come and go, completely normal. Don't stress about it. If it's in the second category, you can try and reframe your thoughts, try to think more positively, try to challenge your thoughts and tell yourself, like, I'm not this kind of person anyway. Like, just challenge yourself with facts and call yourself out on some of these thoughts. And if it's on the more severe part of that category, then now seek professional help. So yeah, and that's all for today, guys. And I hope that this video has been useful to you. And if indeed it has been useful, please feel free to like the video, share it, and also subscribe to get more content from me. Thank you so much, guys, and see you on the next one. Bye.